Today, let's talk about very affordable, very cheap, fresh fragrances that you can wear throughout this spring season. But before we do, you know that I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman, and it's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content. Okay, let's kick things off with an offering from the brand of fragrance world, which is called Feroce, and this fragrance is a clone of Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever. A fragrance, original fragrance that I think has been discontinued. I'm not too sure about this, but I've seen quite a lot of rumors about the discontinuation of the original fragrance. And Feroce actually smells quite similar to that original scent from Dolce & Gabbana. It's fresh, it's citrusy, there's a grapefruit note in here, there's a bit of spiciness, maybe a bit of a green touch as well in the opening. The dry down becomes more of an woody affair with some ambery sweetness and still a bit of that greenness and freshness carrying on from the opening. It's a fresh fragrance that definitely is not up to the liking of everybody, because the opening can come across a little bit sour, because the grapefruit note that has been used in this one, just like the original fragrance, is a bit sour, is not so much on the fresh and the sweet way around. So keep that in mind. I would say that this is one of those freshies that definitely it's better to be sampled before you actually buy it, but this gets very close to the original scent and has a very decent performance, considering that this is a very fresh scent. At least in my personal experience, my bottle of Feroce has been a very good performer, again considering that this is a fresh and sort of on very warm weather type of scent. The next suggestion in today's video that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Paris Corner, and it's called Kaheela Platinum, and this fragrance is a clone of Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau, the original Le Beau. And just like Feroce, this actually is surprisingly good. Now initially when I first got this, I wasn't super impressed by it, but I've had it for a few months now, and to be honest, the more time passes, the better this actually gets and the closer it gets to the original fragrance. Still, to my nose, this doesn't feel like a one-to-one clone to Le Beau. This feels ever slightly more fresh in the opening, a little bit how to call it, slightly greener. It lacks a bit of the sweetness of the Le Beau fragrance, but that can make it a little bit more versatile, because this can work in even hotter conditions compared to the original fragrance. But other than that, smells very similar. You get the sweetness, that coconut note of the original fragrance, you get a bit of that vanillic sweetness. It's a fragrance that I know a lot of people like. I'm personally not a huge fan of the original and Kaheela Platinum including, but it's because my personal preference is a little bit different when it comes to fresh scents. But I cannot deny the fact that Kaheela Platinum smells nice, and with a bit of time, a bit of maceration, this actually has become quite a good, a strong performing scent. Next, let's go with an interesting clone of an original fragrance from Kilian, which is called Apple Brandy on the Rocks. The fragrance again comes from the brand of Paris Corner. It's part of the Mawj line, and this one is called Mawj Appletini. And this is a very interesting scent. I don't know if you're familiar with the original fragrance from Kilian, but this smells quite a lot like it, while at the same time has a bit of its own twist. But basically you can think of this one as a fragrance that has a strong boozy note that's mixed in with quite a bit of sweetness, especially fruity sweetness. There's a green apple note in this fragrance, there's a very strong pineapple note in this fragrance, something that I don't necessarily like that much, to be honest, but that's again down to my own personal preferences. There's a bit of oak moss in here, you'll get a bit of spices, and it's quite a bit of freshness in the opening. There's a bergamot note. The dry down becomes more of an woody fragrance with some ambroxan, still carrying on a little bit of the booziness and quite a bit of the sweetness. It's a fragrance that definitely feels perfectly unisex, that works great in warmer conditions. The warmer the weather gets, the better this works in my opinion. And it's a fragrance that actually surprised me with the performance. Quality is good, presentation is really nice, but where this shines especially, not so much about longevity. It's still a good long-lasting fragrance that gets me at least 8 hours of longevity, but where this shines in my experience is the projection. this tends to project really nicely. So if you like the original fragrance from Kilian, or if you know that mix of notes, the fruity notes, the pineapple note, the strong boozy note with some additional amber sweetness, some woody notes, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely check out Mawj Appletini from Paris Corner. Next, let's go with a few Lattafas. The first one that I've included in today's video is called Liam, or Liam Blue Shine, as is I think the full name of the fragrance. And this one smells a lot like Acqua di Gio Profondo. So it's a very classic, very slightly old school feeling masculine fragrance that in reality you can wear throughout the year, but definitely the Profondo, the OG Acqua di Gio DNA and the Profondo DNA for me I have always associated those scents with slightly warmer conditions. Mid-late spring, early summer. It's a masculine scent that has some aquaticness, has some freshness. There's also some sweetness with this one. Not much to say about the scent DNA because it's you know, a very widely popular scent DNA and a lot of people like it. It's a crowd pleaser. You can wear it pretty much for any type of occasion. Liam Blue Shine offers good quality, decent performance that in my experience is pretty much on par with the original fragrance, and all that for about a quarter of the price of the original scent. Continuing on with the Lattafa fragrances that I've included in today's video, there are two more. The next one is a relatively new release from the brand of Lattafa, part of the Lail Maleki line, and this one is called Moroccan Blue. And this is a very interesting scent that I don't think is a clone of anything out there, but you know, to me it brings some vibes from things like Bulgari's Tiger, also things like Parfum de Marly's Greenly and Sedley, while at the same time it smells different to all those three fragrances, but it's done in a similar style. So we're talking about fresh fragrance that has a lot of freshness. There's a bit of greenness with this one, but at the same time you get a bit of sweetness. You know, the freshness is let's say that the freshness in this one reminds me a little bit of the Parfum de Marly scents, while the sweetness and the muskiness reminds me a little bit of Bulgari's Tiger. You get some woodiness, you get quite a lot of musk on the dry down, which adds to the masculinity of the whole scent profile. It's a very interesting, cheap, freshie that is very versatile. Again, in reality, you can wear this one throughout the year, but I think the best time to wear this one will be in the warmer days of the year, let's say mid or late spring, early summer. It will be a little bit too cloying for you know, the midst of summer, but early summer you can get away with this as long as you don't go too heavy on the trigger. Quality is decent, performance is also quite decent actually on my skin. This tends to last for at least 7 hours, has nice projection and all that for a very affordable price. I personally picked up my bottle for less than 20 euros, so around about 20 something dollars. Super cheap. And the last Lattafa fragrance that I've included in today's video is one of my you know, all-time favorite cheapies from that brand. It's called Hayaati, one of the Hayaati line. This is the black one, and this one reminds me a lot of Paco Rabanne's Invictus, Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua, maybe closer to the original Invictus. So it's sweet, it's bubblegummy, it's a little bit aquatic, it's a crowd pleaser, it's a very easy to wear fragrance that definitely has a bit of a youthful edge, so probably more mature gentlemen out there won't be appreciating this one that much, but I still think this is a very nice freshie. Quality is really good, performance is also surprisingly good considering that this is more of a fresh scent and that it's very inexpensive. It's a very versatile scent. You can wear this one to the office, you can wear it to the gym or whatever. I really like Hayaati, and that's why I've included it in today's video. The next fragrance that I've included in today's video comes from a relatively unknown brand which is called Volar. As far as I know, it's a sub-brand of Lattafa, but I might be wrong about that, and it's part of their Reload line, and all fragrances in this line are cloning original Hugo Boss scents. This particular one is called Blue for Him, and this one is a clone of Boss Bottled Tonic. Now, the original fragrance was never that hugely popular, but to be honest, I always found it you know, quite likable, and Blue for Him, Reload Blue for Him is actually a pretty decent clone of that one. If you're not familiar with the original scent, it's basically this quite fresh fragrance that opens up with a lot of citrusy freshness. There's some orange, there's some lemon, some grapefruit. There's also a bit of fruity sweetness. There's a green apple note which feels fresh but at the same time sweet. You get some spiciness. There's a ginger note in here which adds even more to the freshness of the scent itself. The dry down is a little bit woody with some ambery sweetness, a hint of vetiver. For some reason I've always found the original one and this one to remind me a little bit of La Nuit de l'Homme for some reason, although they're not that close, but it brings similar vibes. It's a very decent freshie that offers decent quality and decent performance, and all that for a very affordable price. And the last fragrance that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Maison Alhambra, and it's called Dark Door Sport. And this one, of course, as you can probably guess looking at the bottle and the name, this is a clone of Your Own Sport. Now, the original fragrance is very masculine. It's, as far as I know, it's quite popular. I personally like it a lot because it's very versatile, it's very masculine, it's very easy to wear fragrance that has a lot of ouds, has a lot of freshness, has a lot of musk, and Dark Door Sport is actually a very good interpretation of the original fragrance. To my nose, of course, the quality is a lot lower, but this one feels a little bit more musky than the original scent, maybe slightly less woody, a little bit more musky, a little bit fresher, but again that only adds to the versatility. It's a very masculine scent that you can wear throughout the year for any type of occasion, and offers very decent quality and very decent performance, and all that for a fraction of the price of the original fragrance. So guys, in today's video I showed you 8 very affordable, very cheap, fresh scents that you can wear throughout this upcoming spring season. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.